Hello, first grade artists. Today is our very first day of virtual learning. So we are going to begin our first project, which is the floating chalk prints, okay? So before I go into all this, we're gonna go over our 7 elements of art. So we have line, we have shape, we have space, we have value, form, texture, and color. All right, that is the 7. So for today, we are just going to be doing some experimental art, okay? So for this project of floating chalk prints, you will need chalk, sidewalk chalk, okay? You will need sidewalk chalk. Or if you have pastels, that is super awesome. So between the two, I would prefer to use the pastels rather than the sidewalk chalk, because after the sidewalk chalk dries on the paper, it's pretty hard to see. As opposed to the pastels, you can really see the pigment a little bit better, okay? But if this is what you got, this is what we're going to use, okay? So this is what the final project looks like, okay? So I have a couple examples here. This example is from just using the sidewalk chalk, but it's using really light colors. So if you use colors like yellows or peaches or oranges and soft blues, it's kind of hard to see that, okay? But if you use the pastel colors, this is what it looks like. Ooh, we got some stuff falling off. Because although this is chalk and we're placing it into the water and it helps set it into the paper, after it dries, it's still chalk at the end of the day, right? So it can rub off and easily fall off the paper, okay, if they're really large chunks. This is sidewalk chalk, but we used darker colors. So I used like the darker blues, the reds, the darker purples, and it helped get this color. And I used a lot, so be sure, and I will show you how, that you scrape enough material off into the water so that it looks like this as opposed to this. Okay, let's get started. So we are going to take our sidewalk chalk, and you will also need popsicle sticks. So I have popsicle sticks here. You can either use these sticks to help you scrape the material off the chalk, or if you have a card that you want to use or anything that's easy to help scrape off the material off the chalk. You're going to need a basin of water. I'm using an aluminum tray. An aluminum tray. Now, it has about a ½ inch to an inch of water in this tray, okay? No more than that. You don't need a whole bunch of water in here, okay? I put my chalk in this bowl so it's just easy for me to get to, as opposed to it being in this box, okay? We are going to use a half of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So because our supplies are so limited, guys, we just have to be mindful of how much we use, okay? So what we're gonna do is, instead of using a whole 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, we are going to fold it in half, and we are going to cut it in half, okay? So that you have 2 as opposed to 1 sheet of paper, okay? So here is the 2 from the 1. Okay, we're gonna set this 1 paper aside. Now, I am going to begin. I'm going to just choose a couple of colors. I'm going to start with some darker colors. I'm going to choose this red. I'm going to choose blues and maybe some darker greens. You can choose whatever colors you want, okay? And just get right into it. I'm going to grab 1 popsicle stick, and I'm going to begin shaving some of this color pigment into this water here, okay? So, okay. You want to do your best to fill this up with color. Fill it all up with color, okay? And we're going to keep going. This is the same action that you would do if you were peeling maybe a carrot or a cucumber or a potato. You may have seen your mommy or your daddy do the same thing with a sharper object, but we are going to use a popsicle stick or a card if you have one. And we're going to just keep scraping, keep scraping, until we fill it up with color. And I'm going to switch colors. It's looking good, looking good. Now, at some point with the chalk, it will start to float to the bottom, okay? So you have to stop at some point. Now, we're going to take our paper and we are going to bend it so that makes this U shape, okay? Over top of the paper, we're just going to lay it right on top of the water, okay? So what you'll see is that the sides of the paper will start to coil. When it does that, you want to hold it like this. You want to tap it for about 10 seconds, do a little tap dance. And you want to be sure that you try not to touch the paper that is wet, okay? And it looks like this for right now, okay? Now we're gonna set that down to dry. And then we can move on to more and more and more prints. Once it dries, it will look like this. Or if you use lighter colors, it will look like this. But I'm going to show you what it looks like if you are to use pastels instead of the sidewalk chalk, okay? Now, if you do decide to go to the store and buy pastels, I suggest buying just cheaper, small pastels, because we're going to be shaving the color pigment into a bowl of water. So you don't want to buy really expensive stuff. You want to buy the cheap stuff. We are going to jump into the pastels. So the pastel is a lot smaller than the sidewalk chalk, so be very careful how you hold it because you don't want to chop a piece off into the water. We're just going to lightly scrape it so that it flies right on top of the basin of water, okay? So like this, we are scraping the pigment onto the water, similar to how we did the sidewalk chalk. Now, I'm holding it flat on my hand, pressing it down with my thumb, using my pointer finger and my other fingers to hold this stick, and we're going to shave like that. I'm going to switch colors. Now, I'm going to take a sheet of paper, hold it like so, like a U shape, and we're gonna just lay it down on the water. Do not press it into the water because we don't want it to drown. It's curling up, and woo! Do a little dance on the back with the tips of our fingers, and ta-da! We see a lot more of the pigment as opposed to the first one, but they're both just as beautiful, and we're gonna let those dry.
Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this art project. More art videos will be posted very soon. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the KO Production channel. Goodbye, see you soon.